Twins of Destiny, a beat-by-beat pitch for the animated feature film screenplay of a family adventure fantasy, The Logline. An adopted 11-year-old boy and his parents set out on an adventure to find the truth behind his heritage. They journey beneath the Earth's surface to a fantasy world where magic and superheroes are real, and where a boy could be king. Ask yourself, what would you do if you woke up one day with wings? The story centers on Matthew and Daniel, the destined twins, separated at birth. Matthew has snowy white, eagle-like wings, while Daniel wields a lethal black scorpion tail. The path to succession prophesies that 2 babies would be born, and one would be chosen by the judge to become the next ruler of the Undermiddle. The legend states that the judge predicts the birth of an heir, but the prophecy twists when the twins are born, threatening civil war. Ancient stewards hid the infants, with Matthew going to a loving family and Daniel being raised by the evil Odin. On Matthew's 11th birthday, the magic can no longer be contained. Matthew Dennis is the Light, an 11-year-old protagonist who loves comic books and his adopted parents. His status is totally normal until his 11th birthday, when his normalcy ends and he sprouts wings. The quote, "Butterflies? You mean real butterflies? 'Cause butterflies would make sucky superheroes." Daniel is the Shadow, a weapon forged in darkness. Raised in captivity by the warlord Odin, he wakes up with a lethal scorpion tail. His internal conflict stems from the belief that his family abandoned him, and he seeks to prove his worth, fueled by loneliness and a need for power. Robert and Kathy Dennis are the anchors, representing bravery without magic. Robert is a paper war office worker who fights monsters with supplies, and Kathy is a fierce protector. They ground the fantasy in relatable human emotion, choosing to fight to save their son. The stewards Babs and Bartholomew are guardians in plain sight. Babs is an ancient steward, and Bartholomew is a man of the cloth, manipulating fabrics and carpets. Their mission is to seek redemption by ensuring Matthew survives to reach the Citadel. Odin is the mastermind antagonist, a warlord seeking to control the Undermiddle by manipulating Daniel. Gordy Stitch's larvae is Odin's right-hand man, a decomposing zombie providing comic relief. The threat is to seize control of the Citadel before the sleeping judge awakens to appoint a successor. The Undermiddle is the setting, a bureaucratic reflection of reality. It's a grayscale mirror, where magic and superpowers exist, where portals are open through literature, with books as doorways between worlds. Travel is hindered by the 1,444-step stairs, a magical torture device. The creatures include the hobgoblins, a Pythicus, and the Jangus. The magic system features useless abilities, such as turning things mauve or growing hair on objects. Odin sacrifices children for fuel, and Robert fights to save them. Act 1 is the awakening and escape. Matthew's wings sprout on his 11th birthday, the inciting incident. Odin tracks them down, and Daniel attacks. Babs sacrifices herself, and Bartholomew uses a book to teleport Robert and Matthew to the Undermiddle. Crossing the threshold, they arrive at the Undermiddle and are greeted by Reggie, the concierge. Reggie instinctively knows what people need before they ask. The group must navigate the stairs, which teleports them back to the start if they miss a step count. The parallel journey follows Daniel's test. Odin takes Daniel to South America to use a backdoor portal, guarded by the Jangus. Daniel battles a stone golem to prove his worth as a warrior. Babs, in captivity, tries to tell him his family didn't abandon him. Act 2 is the chase. Gordy and the Undermiddle cops ambush the heroes at the hotel. Lila, a feisty renegade driver, rescues Robert, Matthew, and Reggie in her cab. During a cinematic chase, the Undermiddle cops capture Matthew, flying him toward the Citadel. Act 3 is convergence at the Citadel, where control of the Undermiddle is at stake. Odin opens the Book of Oscarath to recite a spell that will obliterate magic. Babs is powerless because Daniel placed the Ring of Suppression on her. The resolution is the immunity of the ordinary. Robert dives in front of the killing spell to save his son. The twist: the spell destroys magic, but Robert survives because he is human and has none. Daniel switches sides, removes Babs's ring, and casts Odin into the abyss. The verdict and resolution: the judge wakes up, and because Daniel spoke first, he is named the heir. Daniel chooses to accept the burden of ruling, so Matthew can return to his family. Matthew is granted the ability to hide his wings. A new normal begins with Matthew returning home to his family. The greatest stories begin with a single birth. This one begins with 2. The story continues. Matthew, the Light, was raised in a loving home, innocent and hopeful. Daniel, the Dark, was stolen, raised by the warlord Odin and taught that power is the best friend you'll ever have.